Shalom, shalom. You have Moray Allen.
I'm Pastor Nichelle. Shalom.
And welcome again to this week's edition of His Glory Hamishkon Community on the YouTube channel. And we're going to continue with our teaching of marriage, YHUH'S Way. And we thank you for all of the watches and the likes that you provided for us last week. We want to just continue to tell you to tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell somebody that His Glory Hamishkon Community is on the YouTube channel teaching about marriage. Now that's not the only thing we're going to talk about. No. We're just starting here because this is where Abba Yahuwah told us to begin with marriage. That's a foundation, amen. So amen. If you are new into marriage, this is for you. If you've been in marriage for 5 minutes, this is for you. If you've been in marriage for a while, this is still for you, because don't ever think that, well, I've been married for 15 years. I've been married for 20 years. I already know about all of that. That's all well and good. But Pastor Nichelle and I, we're getting ready to kiss 30 years in the mouth. So when we come and we share the word of our Father with you, this is not something that we read a book about, or we took a how to communicate class or anything like that.
Well, we did very early in marriage.
Way back.
Way
that
back.
Was way back.
And it was very helpful.
It was at that time. But see, we were still young in our Father also. But as He's taken us through, and He's still taking us through, we haven't gotten to the place where we know it all. Because I'm going to tell you this, my brothers and sisters, when we do get to that place, we won't be here.
Very wise pastor once told us that good is the enemy of best. And so when you're just satisfied, an instructor of our children's would always say, be happy. Be happy for where you are, but don't be satisfied. Don't be content with mediocre when more is better. Or more is available, I'll say
Amen. That's good, because one of the things is we kind of get into a rut where, well, we've been married for so long, we really don't need anything else. Oh, yeah, you do. Because, see, at the moment that communication stops, the moment where you're praying for one another, the moment where you go to bed angry.
Oh, that's an issue right there.
Then you're going to have some issues, because the word of our Father, again, we have to go back to the foundation. The word of our Father says, don't let the sun go down on your wrath. But here's the other part. You can be angry. You didn't know that, did you? You can be angry, but watch this. Don't go out and sin. Don't tear anything up. Don't break anything. Don't come to fisticuffs. But you can be angry, but you want to know what I'm getting.
You also have to be careful what you say. Anger is not always a physical manifestation.
That's it.
Words can wound.
That's it. And that is so true. So when you're angry, don't sin, because that word or that object can be just as damaging.
But remember also that Yeshua said that being angry is almost akin to the sin of murder. Mm-hmm. And so, we can say, right. You can give yourself permission to be angry, but are you really, when you're in that state of anger, are you really going to hear from Yah?
Wow.
Are you really open to what Yah has to say about the issue? So, I mean, don't get stuck on, well, Maury Nelson said I can be angry.
That's not, and make sure you keep things in context.
Yes.
All righty? Because being angry and sinning not, that's taking a lot of control. And here's the thing about being filled with the Ruach HaKodesh. Even though you're angry, He's going to lead you into all truth and righteousness. He's not going to let you just go berserk and you just lose all control over your faculties. Right. Because then the question would lie in you is the Ruach really here?
In you? Yes.
So that's the thing, that when we talk about that, and we want to give you practical information. Abba said, break it down to the lowest common denominator. Religion causes this to be so complicated when it's really not.
Right.
So when I hear of people being together for a while and then they divorce after 20 years.
Right. We have a
friend. Or 25 years.
31 years. Friend of ours divorced. A lot of that has to do with your daily practice of coming together. Remember last week we talked about that every moment is a decision.
Yeah.
Are you choosing life or are you choosing death? So, these things don't just all of a sudden happen.
Wow.
There's some cracks in the wall somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so what Maury Nelson and I hope to do is to help you patch those cracks
Amen.
so that they
Hallelujah.
don't become an issue down the road. Or maybe you have some cracks and, some cracks require a little bit more plaster than other cracks. Some cracks you can just paint over. Trust me, I know this.
Oh, yeah.
But then some of them require some spackle and some smoothing.
Oh, I didn't know
and
she
then
knew about
after
spackle.
the spackle and the sandpaper, and so that you can make it appear as if it were never there.
Never there.
Now, one of those things is going to require more work than others.
Amen.
So if you're expecting, well, I'm just going to watch Maury Nelson and Pastor Nichelle and get a quick fix. It depends on how big the crack in your wall is.
Amen. And don't let those cracks turn into crevasses because they get deeper. And if you don't fill in the crack when you start noticing it, by the time it's a crevasse, it's a lot of work that has to be taken into account to repair the damage. So, but you have to trust Abba Yahuwah. That's the thing. Always go to him. Yeah, you might be a little bit off your rocker. Yeah, you might be upset at her. You might be upset at him. But when you think back to the day you said I do.
Yes.
What Abba has joined together?
That no man.
If no man's going to put it asunder but you two, then you can't blame anybody else. And then, did Abba really do it? Well, you don't know what we've been through. You don't know. She did this. He did this. They did that. All right. So when is the responsibility going to do one of these numbers and point back to yourself? What did you do to make it better? If you're going to represent the kingdom of Yah, first of all, you got to fight for what you have that Abba has given to you. We don't just sit back and just kick back and put our hands up and think, okay, everything's going to be hunky-dory, silver platter. No, you've got to fight for it. Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. That's what the word says. So even in your relationship, you have to work at it. It's not every day there's something new.
Right.
Are you going to be an overcomer or are you going to be overcome? So with that, I'm going to read some scripture here so we can get you while we still got you for the time. And if you have your word or later on you want to go back and watch this again, we're going to be reading from Bereshith chapter 2, starting at verse number 18.
That's Genesis.
Genesis, I meant to say that. That's Genesis in English, Bereshith in the Hebrew. And chapter 2, and I read from the Sefer Scroll Bible, and chapter 2, verse 18 reads, and Yahuwah Elohim said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make a helper for him. And I know we talked about this last week. And out of the ground, Yahuwah formed every bone, every beast of the field. Now he goes on to talk about what he's forming and all of that. Now, if we really think about why did Yahuwah say it's not good for man that he's alone? Because if you think about it, Abba's creating all of these animals, insects, creeping things, but man doesn't have a mate. Here's something you probably never thought about. And we're going to get into this as we go along. I don't know how long these parts are going to be, but there's a purpose for that woman. So Abba already knew in advance. So for those of you that try to think that, well, that woman did this and that woman did that, remember that woman came out of you. So when you're fitly joined together and you become echad, you are one. So when you're blaming her, you're blaming yourself. Okay?
In the mechanical Bible, the word for not good, lo tov, not good. If you have to understand, in Hebrew, it is a concrete thought, not an abstract thought. Our Western culture is built on abstract thought, but the Hebrews were a very simple society, especially in the very early stages.
Amen.
And so everything had to do with the way something functioned. We recently took a waffle iron back to Costco. Did you know that Costco will take anything back?
Oh yeah.
So we took a waffle iron back to Costco because it no longer functioned the way it was supposed to.
They took it back happily.
Yes, they did. And so, you were supposed to turn it one way. Well, it just kept going. And so when Yah created man,
right,
man was not meant to function alone.
Right.
That was not the best for man. Now, can, men are single, our young man, our son is a single young man. And at this point in the stage of his development, he is not ready to be joined to someone else. He's not fully developed in his function. But see, Yah created a full-grown man in Adam. Right. He gave him a job to do. A job. He had a job. He had a job. Okay. He had a function.
Listen to that one, brother.
But he could not fully fulfill his function on his own.
Right.
Do you know that married men actually live longer than single men? Do you know that I just read an article the other day?
I'm going to live long, hallelujah.
That's right. I'm going to make sure that... because that's my function. That's my function. Right. Did you know that even married men who are married to intelligent women live even longer?
Oh, I'm going to be 200. Hallelujah.
Because in their dynamics, they balance one another out.
Man, that's right.
And so a wife, ultimately, her role is to balance his function, to make sure. Now, I don't want to say this in a manipulative way. When I say that to make sure that he functions the way Yah created him, that doesn't mean that it is your job to tell him, you do this, you do that. Although, we all do it, don't we? But it is your function to assist him.
Yes, assist.
To be all and to do all that Yah created him to do. Amen. Now, Maury Nelson is in a very technical field. So obviously, a lot of times we think, well, Adam tilled the ground, so it was Eve's job to come along and
pick the berries, cook the food.
Now I cannot function properly as help. I can't go to Maury Nelson's job and function with him there. You really don't want me in a technical environment. But I take care of the rest of it, making sure he's well fed, making sure that the children are functioning
I'm trying
properly.
To do a little weight because I'm so well fed.
To make sure that the household is managed and running smoothly.
Amen.
That's my role. So.
Amen. And that's good. But it is not good for man to be alone. And we're coming up on our time where we have to stop. And I'm like, you were ready.
It gets good. 15 minutes.
It gets good. But see, this is why Abba said he wants to keep these short and sweet, but we're going to continue to teach on them. So he gets all of kavod. Kavod is Hebrew for glory. And he gets all the kavod and he gets all of the praise, because that's what we're here for, to praise him and to lift him up. But he's given us a mandate to teach you. This is how his intended marriage relationship, echad. We came from different places, and then we came together to become one. So as I said on the last program, when she speaks, I'm speaking. When I speak, she's speaking, because we're one. Now, we're going to read some more scriptures later on as the series progresses, that you're going to see some other things of order in the house. So we love our Father, and we're going to give him the kavod, and we're going to give him all the praise. But we want you guys to come back next week, and we're going to continue with this in the name of YHUH'S HaMashiach.
Do you have an email address so people can?
Our email address is H.G.H.C. YouTube at hisgloryhamishkan.com. So you can go to our website, and you can even send an email to info@hisglory, and we'll get it over to the H.G.H.C. email. Amen.
Amen.
So with that, shalom, and we'll see you on the other side.
Shalom.